Okay, I want to talk about the crying Gen Z individual, popular all over the news, about crying about her first 9 to 5 job after college. Unfortunately, I have to bring up TikTok. I hate TikTok, but it's a TikToker, whatever you want to call them. And apparently, the news about her probably brought her up in popularity. She has almost 150,000 followers on TikTok, 11 million likes. So good, bad publicity is always going to be good publicity. Now, the videos over here has 3.2 million views about her whining about her first 9 to 5. Let me play this first, then I want to get through my thoughts about this, and I'd love to read people's thoughts on this too.
I know I'm probably just being so dramatic and annoying, but this is my first job, like my first 9 to 5 job after college, and I'm in person, and I'm commuting in the city, and it takes me fucking forever to get there. There's no way I'm gonna be able to afford living in the city right now, so that's off the table. Like, fucking duh! If I was able to walk to work, and it'd be fine, but I'm not. So it literally takes me, like, I leave here, like, I get on the train at 7:30, and I don't get home till, like, 6:15 earliest, and then, like, I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like, I don't have energy to work out. Like, that's out the window. Like, I'm so upset.
I want to pause here real quick. Don't have time. I've been there. Many of you watching this have been there. Working 9 to 5. It's not just 9 to 5. Not just 8 hours at the job. It's either a 30-minute lunch or an hour lunch in there. Then there's the commute time. For some, it's 5 minutes. For others, it's 2 hours one way. And then you come back through the traffic. And it's a lot of time spent. I've done it. Most of you have done it. I've also been in the military. I know what it's like to work 22 hours a day for a long time during deployment. It's the norm. It sucks. Sounds like an exaggeration, but 2 hours of sleep a day sucks. And no weekends. The no time thing. This is where, as an adult, you understand your priorities. Because you're so limited on time. Like, how often can I see my friends? How important is going to the gym? How important is it for me to prep my meals and take it to work versus just going around the corner and buying McDonald's and eating Subway every day at work? Yes, it's exhausting. This is where you really need to sit down and think about your priorities and what's more important to you. You don't have a lot of time. Let me keep playing.
Oh my god. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just like the 9 to 5 schedule in general is crazy. Being in the office 9 to 5, like if it was remote, you get off at 5 and you're home and everything's fine. But like I'm not home. It takes me long to get home, and like
People love remote jobs for this reason. You save something that's very precious, which is time. I'm a remote worker and I love it. I don't have to deal with traffic. I don't have to bring up a gas bill for my car. I don't have to fight traffic. So I get to save a lot of time. Like 1 hour each way. That was the norm for me, like 1 hour each way. So I get to save 2 hours out of my day, plus the lunch breaks there at work and spending money at a nearby restaurant. I get to save money on that. I get to save on maintenance on my car. I get to save gas on my car. So there's more money in my pocket because I'm a remote worker. Now, did I start out as a remote worker? No, of course. I worked my way to it. Got my education, worked hard, got skilled, and specifically worked hard enough and looked through enough jobs and what the requirements were to get that remote job so I could save on that time.
like people that drive to the office, like it doesn't, you don't get off at 5. And I know it could be worse. I know I could be working longer, but like I literally get off, it's pitch black. Like I don't have energy. How do you have friends? Like how do you have time to like meet like a guy? I don't know. Like how do you have time for like dating? Like I don't have time for anything, and I'm like so stressed out.
I believe people in the dating world have gone through this where you have such little time, but you will make up the time if you really, really want to go out and date and meet someone. And I understand that like dating sucks. You have to filter through a lot of people. This is for both men and women. You have to filter through a lot of people who you think is a good match and who might be worth your time to go out there, get to meet them. You're basically interviewing each other on the first date to see if you're a good match. And both have to come to the agreement. One person might like one, but the other one does not feel the same way and it doesn't work out. And you have to keep going through this over and over again. Dating does suck. It feels like a job interview every time. You have to go through a lot of them until you find the right one that can lead into a relationship.
And I'm also getting my period, so that's why I'm all emotional. But like,
Well, okay.
Am I so dramatic? It's fine.
Now look at some of these comments. The 40-hour work week is beyond outdated and your feelings are totally valid. 40-hour work week started, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. Feel free to blast me on this. I believe Henry Ford started that in the early 1900s with the 40-hour work week schedule. And that just became the norm. And that's become the norm for more than 100 years now. And this is the current path dependency in the United States and other Western countries as well. And right now it feels like this is the best method. Anything after 40 hours, if you're an hourly employee, you should get overtime pay, a pay and a half. If you're salaried, then that kind of sucks. But hey, if you're salaried, you should be getting a good compensation. But of course, as I mentioned, time is very important. I've watched this video numerous times. And every time I saw this, I'm just like, boo-hoo, little girl. Welcome to adulthood. It sucks and it's not fair. Figure it out. More I thought about it, it's just because I suffered through it. Most of you have suffered through it. It doesn't mean that we have to keep putting this on blast on the younger generations. Now, I believe the 9 to 5, after thinking about it some more, I'm not saying it's outdated, but how can you do better? I'd love to be proven how you can do better than this. If the younger generation can figure that out, that'd be awesome. How can you put more output, more productivity in a fewer amount of time and get the same earnings or more? It's very hard to find that balance. Some other comments. People really sided with the 40-hour work week was designed with a homemaker to take care of the house tasks. We need dual incomes now, so that's not possible. No time for anything. Yeah. We're at the point where it's just no longer the head of the household, male or female, who goes to work 40 hours, supports everyone in the house. Mortgage payment, everything. It now requires 2 people for the most part. Most households has dual income. But we're allowing it as a society. Are we truly that powerless, or is there something we can do about it? Like, you grind and grind just to get through the week, pay your bills, start over. No one's really teaching you that if you want to get out of this cycle, you have to do something about it. Complaining on TikTok is not going to help you. Complaining on your social media is not going to help you, younger generation. I'm sorry. You have to do something about it. Maybe make a job, or if you ever become an entrepreneur, say, hey, everyone, 35 hours a week is considered full-time under my business. Or you become a politician, you try to make that change. Or you work for yourself. Who is it that said this? It was from Rich Dad Poor Dad, that you only work to learn. So for example, say you love to work in wood shop. You like making things out of wood. Like, say you like to make tables, chairs, whatever designs you like to make. You go work for someone, be an apprentice, learn the skills. And one thing that's very important that a lot of people don't do, that they need to do when they're young, and trust me, I did this too. You need to save your money. Then you can branch away from work, depending on your livelihood on someone and making them rich. Where you can branch away and do your own thing, your own business. You bought the necessary tools. You bought the truck. You can make the stuff at home, and then now you can start selling it yourself and have most of that revenue to yourself instead of it going to someone else. What else are people saying in the comments? Gen Z needs to collectively move up into management positions and collectively enforce the 4-day work week. 10 hours a day? Is that what it is? So you have a day off? Some people prefer that, so you have a full day to yourself per week. 9 to 5, the day's pretty much gone anyway. Why make it 5 days a week when you just bring it to 4 days a week? Work an extra 2 hours. Yes, girl, I don't think I have another 30 to 40 years in me. Yeah. This work schedule has been going on for generations now. And this is why they're looking at you saying, hey, because they did it, they suffered through it, and they got somewhere in life, you should too. Crying about it on social media is not going to help you. Hey, I could see the problem, but how are you going to fix it? I had a crisis when I first got my 9-to-5 job. Literally, I couldn't believe this was life. Yeah. Oh, it's worse if you ever go in the military. You have zero free time to yourself. It's traumatizing the first year. Yeah, I can understand. This is your first 9-to-5. This is your adjustment. This is what I was saying earlier. You really have to pick out your priorities. You probably had a lot of free time as a young kid going to college, and that's all you had to focus on was college classes, where you attend to those classes 2-3 times a week. You had all this free time. Yeah, you study in between. Then you go have fun, hang out with friends all day, play video games all day. And then that 9-to-5, you're like, wow, if I want decent sleep, I got maybe 2-3 hours to myself. What am I going to use that time for? Eat well, maybe go work out. Should I go hang out with my friends today? Because I got to go back to the grind tomorrow. Welcome to adulthood. See, that was my original reaction, was welcome to adulthood. It sucks and it's unfair. Figure it out how to do better. Figure out paths of like, I don't like this situation. How do I get out? Do I need better education? Do I need to stay at this job, get the necessary skills so I can work for myself with the same skills? Do I need to find another employer who has benefits and work-life balance that I agree with? High school sets us up for the 9-to-5, then college ruined it. A little bit. If I were to speculate what this individual meant, high school, you go in the morning, you get out. Very similar to a 9-to-5. Then you go to college, and it's your schedule's kind of everywhere. You get to pick your schedule. Do you want morning classes, afternoon classes, evening classes? I did a lot of evening classes because I hated waking up to an alarm clock. Remember having this realization, like this is what I could wait to grow up for? This is what life is like? Yeah. This is what society has brought us to. We've allowed it. I've been working 9-to-5 for 6 years now, and I still get this frustrated at least once a week. Yeah, you just don't have time. It's hard. I get it. It's adulthood, right? Time is so precious. You commit so much time to someone else just because you need money to pay for your bills, a roof over your head, food. And whatever time you have left, how are you going to spend it? For yourself at home watching TV, working out, seeing your family, seeing your friends. It's the limited amount of time you have left. How are you going to spend it? I kind of like this comment. You're new to the workforce. You will find your rhythm and figure out ways to optimize your time. You're going to do great. Give yourself grace. I agree with that. It's a shock of like how little time you have. How are you going to prioritize your time? You do find a rhythm. You have no other choice but to figure out a routine. Figure out the best way to optimize your time. Your free time. Like I said, is it going to your friends? Is it going to your family? Maybe it's going to yourself. If you want to go to college full-time or part-time, or learn a new skill, or make a side hustle. Do something you want to do for yourself. This is the exact situation, and I find myself crying a lot. I feel a lot of people cry that they just have so little time. And having that little time gives you anxiety, and you're stressed out a lot. And it's just an endless cycle. There's many people who are watching my video right now saying 9-to-5 is nothing to me. I've worked 2 jobs. I've worked 3 jobs. I was in the military. Military is like 18 plus hours of work each day, plus no weekends, right? Add kids to the mix, definitely no life. I'm crying with you. Yeah, kids is difficult. I don't have kids, but I can understand that they're very time consuming. They require a lot of attention. You need to be with your kids. So as I'm scrolling through this, of course, this is TikTok. Most of it's support. Some of it is people trolling, right? Welcome to adulthood. I'm sure a lot of this is people who will follow her. She probably, after this video that's gone viral, like all the news and whatnot. It's gotten viral. She has much more followers. TikTok's up there. This needs to be heard more. Not that it needs to be heard more. It's just what is society going to do about this? What is the younger generation going to do about this? You know, I'm a millennial. We didn't do anything about it. Yeah, we'll complain. You're complaining. Doesn't do anything. We need a position of management or higher leadership You could enforce something. Try out something to see if it works. Right now, people are trying hybrid to see if that works with work-life balance. Remote's a big thing. A lot of people want them back in the office. There's a lot of tug and pull. That's probably a shock in our society. But what is the younger generation going to do? This is a Gen Z person, right? So what are you guys going to do? How are you going to make a better society where you can free up people's time but have the same, if not better, output in our economy? Enough productivity, enough for society to function better. Because to have greater output, you have to sacrifice a lot of time, but the time that's being sacrificed is both executive management and the working people whose time are sacrificed just to get a company pushing further to the limits, to be more competitive. So as I scroll through this, I see a lot of people comparing themselves, right? What they had to go through. And yes, it sucks. Now, like I said, first I wanted to be all boo-hoo. For the longest time I was like, boo-hoo, suck it up. Life sucks. Like that. Figure it out. Now, this is a cycle that I've heard from previous generations say this to me. I went through it, toughened out, and I look back and say, and I think, does it have to be this way? I would love to have more free time to spend with friends and family, spend on myself, not to make someone else rich. As much as I don't like it, I know complaining is not going to work, but I also don't have a solution for it. How can I work less and make more money? Have a greater output by doing less? Because sometimes when you have an inflated lifestyle, like you need the latest, greatest iPhone, the best car, nice neighborhood, everything, you inflate your lifestyle, you have to work harder, work more hours. How do you break this cycle? Otherwise, we're all going to stay in the same cycle and it won't be broken. And we'll just have more people go on their social medias and complain.